All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a country that somehow perfectly balances a fierce, legendary past with, honestly, some of the most ultra-progressive societal structures on the entire planet. When you think about nation building, you usually look at how a country manages its resources, its people, its history, right? Well, today, we're going to unpack the incredibly unique blueprints that make Norway function unlike literally anywhere else in the world.
So, what do Viking warriors, Japanese sushi, and reverse vending machines all have in common? It sounds like the setup to a weird joke, right? But what's wild is that these seemingly random concepts all trace back to the exact same fascinating Nordic country. How does a nation famous for ancient, axe-wielding seafarers also become the architect of modern environmental sustainability and a massive global culinary phenomenon? Well, it's all interconnected. And by the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how Norway's innovative mindset connects all these dots.
To really grasp the systems they've built, we first need to understand the physical reality of the country itself. Just consider the sheer scale for a second. Norway has this massive, sprawling European landmass, yet it holds roughly the same small population size as the island nation of Sri Lanka. We're talking just about 5.4 million people. That's a vast, wildly open geography with a remarkably concentrated population. And as you'll see, this specific ratio of land to people is a fundamental driver of how they've actually structured their entire society.
Section 1. The Foundation, Geography and Viking Roots. You know, the Viking era wasn't just some brief historical blip. It forged a fierce, resilient cultural identity that has survived for centuries. And it's actually incredibly cool to see how this proud heritage hasn't just been lost to dusty history books. Instead, it's morphed into massive global pop culture hits. Think about blockbuster movies like How to Train Your Dragon. They pulled directly from this rich, mythological, and rugged Norwegian culture. It's a real testament to how captivating their foundational story truly is to the rest of the world.
Section 2. Norway's dual linguistic landscape.
But you see, the preservation of their history goes way beyond just media and Hollywood movies. It is literally baked into how they communicate every single day. The country beautifully maintains two distinct, official written languages side by side, Bokmål and Nynorsk. Now, rather than forcing a single homogenized language onto the entire population, which, let's face it, is what a lot of countries do, they fully embrace their regional differences and historical linguistic roots by teaching and using both. It's really a perfect early indicator of a society that values inclusivity and cultural preservation over simple, rigid uniformity.
Moving right along to Section 3, a progressive present, wealth and equality.
Now that we've got a handle on their historical and cultural roots, let's look at how this nation handles its massive natural resources, specifically their vast oil reserves. When a country strikes oil, the temptation is almost always to spend that cash immediately, right? Well, Norway did the exact opposite. Instead of simply blowing their oil revenue on short-term gains, they pioneered this brilliantly structured financial model, a sovereign wealth fund. Basically, they take the profits from their natural resources and they invest them globally. Why? To secure the future pensions and financial stability for every single citizen. It is literally a masterclass in long-term delayed gratification on a national scale.
And here is the direct, real-world result of that long-term thinking. Because of how they carefully manage and distribute that wealth, they've engineered a society with almost no gap between the rich and the poor. They are championing extreme economic equality. So despite operating as a wealthy capitalist nation on the global stage, internally, they function with an almost socialist-like equality, where the vast majority of citizens enjoy an incredibly high, stable standard of living. Honestly, it begs the question, why isn't every resource-rich country doing exactly this?
Section 4. A progressive justice system. This deep commitment to societal equality perfectly transitions into our next twist, which is how a nation originally founded by violent, raiding Viking warriors ultimately built the world's most peaceful and progressive justice system. Just consider the number 21 for a second. That number represents the maximum standard prison sentence in years that you can serve in Norway. Seriously, no matter the crime, the baseline maximum sentence caps out at just 21 years. Now, to a lot of people around the world, this sounds almost unfathomably lenient, but there's a very specific, deeply researched philosophy behind this number, and that philosophy is captured perfectly in this one simple quote: rehabilitation over punishment. The Norwegian justice system simply doesn't believe in locking people in a cage just to suffer. Instead, they view prison as an opportunity to fix the root causes of criminal behavior. By focusing entirely on rehabilitating individuals, treating them humanely, and actually preparing them to re-enter society, they achieve something incredible. They maintain some of the absolute lowest crime and recidivism rates on Earth.
Their communities are highly safe, specifically because they treat their offenders as citizens who need to be repaired, not just punished.
All right, time to pivot. Section 5, the Salmon Sushi Revolution.
Let's look at how Norway's innovative, problem-solving mindset spread globally, eventually landing right on your dinner plate. Prepare to have your mind blown about one of your favorite foods, because this is an incredible piece of history. Okay, step 1. Norway finds itself with a massive surplus of salmon. Step 2. In the 1980s, a Norwegian delegation visits Japan. Now get this, at the time, Japan did not use raw salmon for sushi. They actually considered Pacific salmon unsafe to eat raw. Step 3. The Norwegians aggressively pitched their clean Atlantic salmon as the perfect sushi fish, and step 4, it absolutely worked. It was actually a Norwegian initiative that completely revolutionized Japanese cuisine. The global culinary staple of salmon sushi that we all know and love today was, quite literally, a Norwegian marketing invention. How crazy is that?
Section 6, pioneering environmental sustainability. From reshaping global diets, we finally must examine how this country is obsessively dedicated to protecting the future of our planet. Their environmental blueprint is perhaps their most impressive export yet. And here is the ultimate paradox of their green transition. Remember earlier when we talked about their massive oil wealth? Well, despite their immense fossil fuel exports making them incredibly rich, they refuse to rely on it for themselves. Domestically, they rely predominantly on renewable energy to power their own country. By tapping into their vast rivers and waterfalls, they utilize massive hydropower capabilities, running an almost entirely clean, green electrical grid at home.
And you know, their commitment to the environment extends directly to the everyday consumer too. Just consider this staggering number: 97%. That is Norway's plastic recycling rate. 97%. It is a nearly perfect closed-loop system that the rest of the world heavily envies. But how in the world do you get almost an entire population of 5.4 million people to willingly recycle 97% of their plastic? Well, the secret is you make it automatic and you make it rewarding.
This builds directly into their incredibly efficient consumer loop. Here's how it works. Step 1. You buy a plastic bottle with a tiny deposit fee included in the price. Step 2. When you're done, you don't just chuck it in the trash. No, you return the bottle to a local reverse vending machine, which you can find in almost every supermarket. Step 3. The machine scans it and boom, you automatically get your deposit money back. Step 4. The bottle is efficiently processed and recycled. By simply following these steps, every single citizen effortlessly participates in saving the environment. It brilliantly leverages a tiny financial incentive to create massive, countrywide ecological habits.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we've seen how Norway uses its vast geography and Viking heritage to build a society rooted in linguistic pride, extreme economic equality, rehabilitative justice, brilliant global marketing, and unparalleled environmental sustainability. It's a lot, right? I really want you to reflect on these blueprints. I'm going to leave you with this question. Which of these incredible innovations, whether it's capping prison sentences at 21 years, implementing those reverse vending machines, or building a massive wealth fund for the people, which one would most radically transform your own society? Think about that, and I'll see you in the next explainer.